Hey everybody, how you doing today? Well, this video here is going to be politically oriented. Something that I don't do very often, but it's not for lack of interest. Well, no, let me think about that. It is for lack of interest. I'm not very interested in politics any more than I have to be. I do realize that political issues impact us all, so merely ignoring politics is not going to make it go away or improve anything for us. But you know, once in a while I watch a few clips. Like I just walked in the house and my wife was watching Jon Stewart, and they they had this little political Congress meeting or whatever it was, and I think it was Hastings, I think was the guy's name. It's this little old black guy from Florida. I think he's like I don't know if he's the governor. I don't know. I don't follow the specifics, but I just love watching people argue about things and sound like children. Or I shouldn't say I love it. I hate it. I despise the idea that the Democrats and Republicans act like a bunch of kids. And so in the past, I've been very political. Like when Bush was in office, I was very anti-Bush. I made anti-Bush T-shirts. I was pissed. I hated the guy, and I still do. And it had nothing. It's not so much to do with the things that happened while he was in office, because these are governmental issues. Things that, you know, the president has a certain amount of control, and some things are out of his control. But George Bush looked us right in the eye and basically said, "Screw you people, I'm doing what I want because God put me in charge." You know, he said that God wanted him in that position. God wanted him to be president, and that kind of shit just doesn't fly. But when people disagreed with what he was doing, he would just say, "Too bad," just laugh basically, you know, and that kind of stuff is ridiculous. Obama, on the other hand, you know, I know Obama's made a shitload of mistakes, and he's got his own problems, and I'm not even going to get into the politics of Obama, but taking this this idea of healthcare and seeing what the conservatives have tried to do to it, it's just ludicrous. You know, they were talking about like the 9,000th vote against Obamacare. It has nothing to do with finances or trying to protect the interests of the country. It has to do with greed, because I mean, trying to keep Obamacare out, trying to eliminate Obamacare. It has nothing to do with Obamacare itself. It's the fact that Obama put it in, and the Republicans want to say it doesn't work because you did it and you're a Democrat. This guy Hastings was talking to the governor of Texas, and he said something like, "You got, you know, Texas is the most backwards ass state," and he said something harsh, and the other guy said something. This old conservative dude just looks like the kind of guy you just can tell is just an idiot. As far as, you know, he's got his you know, I don't like to judge people by how they look. It's how they talk and how they act, and the way he comes across is just arrogant. And he basically said, "Well, I'll be waiting for your apology because, you know, I don't think it's right to talk about my state this way and that way." And he said, "Well, if you're waiting for an apology, sir, you'll be waiting until hell freezes over." It was pretty damn funny. Just totally nonchalant. Basically, it's saying, this is how I feel. If you don't like it, too bad. Quit playing the little whiny kid card, you know. You like your state? Great. It's just a state, you know. Stuff becomes ludicrous at a point. So I feel like people are joining in the bandwagon and trying to basically oppose anything that the other side does. And in a bipartisan system, we have some major problems. And we seem to think that this is just the way things are. That, oh yeah, it's left and right wing, that's just the way it is. And that's just totally ludicrous, because these people don't formulate their own opinions. They don't speak their true feelings or how they really, you know, what they really think about the issue. They look at what others around them in their group are saying, and then they follow suit. And you know, how many times have you really heard, you know, one guy speaking out against what the other conservatives are saying? If he does, he's instantly dismissed, and, you know, labeled to be a liberal, libtard, whatever you want to call it. So basically what I'm saying is we've been scared into shutting up and not voicing how we really feel about things. For example, me to sit here and say I support Obamacare, that gets a lot of people opposed to my thinking. A lot of people would say, you're an idiot, Josh, you don't know shit. Obamacare is, is sucking money out of the pockets of the people who work, and people should be able to deal with their own health care, and they'll start bringing up things like, oh, well, there's already workplace health care, and now it's going to screw all this up. We've already proven that all this is nonsense, that it's actually, it's actually helping, believe it or not. And being a guy who worked for myself for years without any health care and without any insurance, it's a nice option to have. But the decision I made wasn't based on Republican or Democrat ideas. It was based on my thoughts and my process of how is this going to assist or, prohibit or whatever society. What is this going to do to us as a whole? And the research I've done into American way of life and sick days, those kinds of things, and more money, billions and billions of dollars are lost to sick days each year that are preventable by having a doctor. If you've never had insurance and you've never had the money to go to the doctor, you may support Obamacare. If you have money and you never had to worry about it, you probably don't. And these are very simple ideas, but there are more people who are trying to get by than aren't, and therefore it's going to assist more people, something like Obamacare, than it will harm. And you'll notice that those who are speaking out against it are the ones that have the clout and the resources to do so. Those who are out to support business, out to support corporations, they will always have the most say, because they will have companies like Monsanto just lining their pockets and affording commercials and all types of propaganda to get people to believe what they're telling them. And people just don't do their own research, their own homework. And politicians are just a bunch of whiny babies when they get together. They just sit there and cry about everything and bitch at each other, and nothing ever gets resolved. It's always about trying to prove what they've done wrong or what they should have done better. It's like we're talking about adults, humans, people who have spent their careers, their lives thinking about how the system works and how we can improve it. And to see someone stand there and say something that is obviously ludicrous and wrong, it makes you wonder, is the person just dumb, or are they just going along with the flow? I think both of those are unforgivable. Being dumb or being ignorant to the fact is okay, but you have to educate yourself, because if I was a carpenter and I take on a job and I don't know how to swing a hammer and I don't understand how the wood goes together, I'm not going to be a very good carpenter. So it's like everybody wants to feel like they're an expert on social issues. Everybody wants to feel like their opinion really matters. And the only way an opinion is going to matter on political and social issues is if you understand people, and if you understand what people really think. And this is something that politicians are completely detached from. I'm not an Obama supporter, but I'm not an Obama opposer. Here's the reason. It's because everything I'm told about Obama, everything I hear about Obama is propaganda that's put forth by the media. The right-wingers control the media. They're going to do everything they can to make Obama look like a jerk. What do we really have to go on? There's decisions made. Obama has made many great decisions. He's done many phenomenal things, that aren't spoken of. But every time he does something that's opposing, to a few people, it gets thrown way out of proportion. Just like all presidents, And I don't oppose Obama as a human. I think he's making the best decisions he can as an individual. None of us can know what goes on behind the closed doors. None of us can know what pressures really happen. The decisions that are forced to make, or the ones that Congress would make for him. So I'm not here to support Obama. What I'm saying is that I have my own opinion on him, and I don't dislike him. I think I like the guy. Why? Is because I understand people. And I know that people can lie and people can have a look in their eye that makes them look honest, but when a person's speaking, you can tell a lot about them by the way that they conduct themselves. If you don't understand people, then you could look at some, extreme propagandist and think that they're telling the truth and believe everything they say. And I don't think the politicians understand people in the sense that, if you grow up in that type of political environment, often maybe you grew up in a well-to-do family and you don't really understand what it's like to be suffering, to take back soda cans to get a pack of smokes, or to have to scrounge up bus fare so you can get to work. And this is a very, very serious common thing, and that many of us face, and that those who have means don't seem to understand, and they can't understand. So they know very well that those of us who don't have means can't really voice our opinions. I can't go down to the news station and say, this is what's important. Why would they listen to me? I'm just a guy. So I make YouTube videos. And to be able to make this and be able to say, this is how I feel about politics, people can listen or not, it matters not. The point being that I have this free ability to still exchange ideas and to share how I really feel. And all of us do. And I think we all have an obligation to kind of speak up if somebody says something in a group of people, don't go along with it just because that's the norm, Like when everybody opposes one particular idea, I have to be that guy that says, well, maybe it's okay, or maybe it's not okay. And that's just the way I deal with shit. So I'm not a political oriented person, so I don't sit and read all the papers, and that's what people will say, well, if you want to know the truth, you've got to read the whole, say, Obamacare packet, 20, 30,000 pages or whatever. And so nobody does that. Nobody does that. You just look at the basics. You look at the obvious factors that are involved. Healthcare. People need healthcare so they can be healthy, so they can work. And for some reason, they've been able to turn everybody against helping people. And that's propaganda at its greatest. So, politics, just a bunch of bullshit, but something we gotta deal with. The life we live. Namaste, peeps.